Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I would like to introduce the work we've done on wood identifications of West African objects conserved in French museums. Of course, we will do a very quickly review because West Africa and West African objects are a quite vast subjects. Important trees in a sculpture is too big also. You will see some images of Prota web-based site and inside wood, so to remind this morning. The history of the African continent is complex, and as you know, it has been influenced by foreigner nations. We'll see today only an overview of the countries that experience the French presence, or those whose objects can be found in French museums. Sorry for the images. Maybe you can replace them? Because many of us, we are able to determine some wood species about color, density, and so on. But when are working with antiquities who carried with them the weight of the years, this is less easy. For that, we need to observe the wood under the microscope. Here you can have my colleague Catherine Lavier, which is taking some examples from anatomical study and radiocarbon analysis. You can see here the alteration of the color and density of the sculpture. The market for African art in Europe nowadays a very significant increase, and the arrival of fakes in the market is very important. For that, at this moment, museums and particulars are asking for scientific analysis. One of the most asking is wood identification. In order to identify a species, we need to observe the distribution and the size of cells who compose the wood structure. We observe the wood under the microscope on these three planes, transverse, tangential, and radial. Objects we will see mostly come from the Quai Branly Museum and the Louvre Museum in Paris. The vegetation in West Africa is extremely rich and varied and need a specialist knowing well the flora and specifically wood anatomy. So, except some objects I identified, the most important part of the work was done by Pierre Detienne on the Research Forest in Sirade in Montpellier. You will see we have only objects from the 17th century and after, because we have no objects before who conserve in this kind of humid conditions. The first object we will see come from Republic of Guinea-Bissau on the Visigoths Islands. The Visigoths Islands are a group of 77 islands of islets located in the Atlantic Ocean. There is a high diversity of ecosystems, mangroves with intertidal zones, palm forest and semi-dry forest, savanna, aquatic zone, etc. The local ethnic group is known as the Bidiogo. Due to difficulties of communication with mainland Guinea-Bissau that persist to this day, the population has a considerable degree of autonomy, and he has shielded his ancestral culture from outside influence. The Visigoths people produce many artifacts for daily use and ritual, following a traditional iconography that is unique in this culture. Among the most striking Bidiogo art pieces are the portable Ancestor shrine and the zoomorphic mask. They believe that after dying, the soul can only find peace of a statue is carved in which it can rest. This ancestor statue is made on Santoxylum, the Senegal prickly ash, a shrub of a small tree, spiny, up to 12 meters. The timber is yellow, very hard and termite resistant, and is used for building purpose, including poles and posts. It also makes a very good firewood. The wood can be used in cabinet work, although the pieces are usually small. The bark of young branches contain much resin, which makes them very suitable for ceremonial torches. Throughout West Africa, the aromatic roots, stem barks, and leaves are commonly used in traditional medicine, and he also has a magical religious uses, including protection against spirits. It serves as a fetish plant. Mali territories, Present-day Republic of Mali once owns part of the three West African empires that control trans-Saharan trade: the Ghana, the Mali, and the Songhai Empire. The earliest of these empires was the Ghana Empire, which was dominated by Soninke, a Mande-speaking people. The empire later declined as a result of internal intrigue, ultimately being supplanted by the Songhai Empire from northeast Nigeria. Mali territories encompasses three natural zones: the southern cultivated Sudanese zone, central semi-arid Sahelian, and northern and Saharan zone. The Bandiagara escarpment is a land inhabited today by the Dogon people. Before the Dogon, the escarpment was occupied by Telem and Toloi. Many structures, especially the granaries, remain for the Telem. The cliff constitutes a natural area of unique and exceptional beauty in West Africa and is covered typically by Sudanian savanna. The wood of this statue is the wild syringa, a medium-sized tree up to 20 meters tall. The wood of Rukea is mainly used locally and traded in limited volume internationally. Also, the wood is very hard, but it's not difficult to saw. It's difficult to work with hand tools. It takes a nice polishing when it's finished. The wood is used for many purposes: poles, parquet, flooring, furniture, railway, stencils, tools, etc. And the bark, roots, and leaves are commonly used also in traditional medicine. Burkina Africana is a true multi-purpose tree, not only important for its timber, but also a source of medicine, firewood, dye, and edible caterpillars. The Telem were pygmies, or small people, who built dwellings around the base of the escarpments, as well as directly into the cliff. As I say, some of the Telem buildings, especially the granaries, are still used today by the Dogon. The Telem people have disappeared for the area by assimilation into Dogon culture or some unknown reasons. It is thought by some in Mali today that the Telem possess the power of flight. Ficus toningi is an evergreen tree. You can see this quite old sculpture, before 17. It is a tree with a creamy brown wood, quite uniform structure, light, soft to moderately, and is finished smoothly and holds nice firmly. Its durability is low and is easily attacked by termites. The bark is important source of local medicine, and we use also the tree for fiber. The Soninke are a Mande people who descend from the Bafur. They were the founders of the ancient empire of Ghana. The sculpture represented a mythical ancestor, Nono, and is made of the wood of Aphelia africana, a small to very large tree up to 40 meters tall. The wood is characterized by an excellent stability and a good natural durability, even for use in permanent humid conditions. It makes an excellent wood for use in crafts as well as interior fitting. It has been used traditionally for canoes and domestic articles such as boxes, bowls, spoons, mortars, and masks. In many regions, Aphelia africana is one of the most important woody fodder plants and used also in traditional medicine. Formerly called the Republic of Upper Volta, The country was renamed Burkina Faso in 1984. Burkina Faso from Maori may be translated as land of upright people or land of honest people. What is now central Burkina Faso was principally occupied by Mosi kingdoms. It is made of two major types of countryside. The large part of the country is covered by plain, which form a gentle undulation landscapes, with in some areas a few isolated hills. The southern of the country forms a sandstone massif. Approximately 15% of the country has forest cover, while woodland. This statue is one of the very few known works on this style. The ritual destination of this sculpture remains unknown. The Nuna are a population from southern Burkina Faso. Their wooden statues are held by men called Buru, which control of a bush spirit. Most large effigies have their feet broken, indicating that they were planted in a ground in a place determined and fixed. She is made in Vitex doniana. The West African plum wood is popular for house building, furniture, stalls, carving, etc., toys or boxes. The hardwood is creamy, white to pale brown, yellowishy brown or grayish brown, and the grain is straight. They are said that the wood resembles teak. In Burkina Faso, Vitex doniana is one of the most highly valued species by the population, especially a source of construction timber, edible fruits, and leaves to make a vegetable sauce. He has also numerous applications in medicine. Prior to its colonization by Europeans, Ivory Coast was home to several states, including Guayana, the Kong Empire, and Baoulé. Ivory Coast is formed by a large plateau rising gradually from sea level in the south. The southern region, especially the southwest, is covered by dense tropical moist forest. The Baoulé create art in several different media, including gold and brass casting, wooden sculptures, masks, and figure. These two objects are made of Funtumia elastica, a medium-sized tree. It is a species of dense evergreen forest which also grows in the coastal zone. The tree is especially known for its medical properties. The wood, creamy and light, are almost used in local carpentry. The Federal Republic of Nigeria has a very varied landscape. The far south is defined by a tropical rainforest climate. The forest zone most southerly portion is defined as saltwater swamp, also known as mangrove swamp. Everything in between the far south and the north-south is savanna. The three largest and most influential ethnic groups in Nigeria are the Hausa, Igbo, and Yoruba. The Yoruba kingdoms, especially the Kingdom of Benin, were located in southwestern Nigeria and became prominent in 12th to 14th centuries. You can see here a very beautiful head of king made in Cassia siberiana. The wood is suitable for make furniture, tools, construction, and railway sleepers. It's also used as firewood, but is considered inferior because it produces a lot of smoke. The roadwood is used in Sierra Leone and Burkina Faso as chew sticks. The termite-resistant wood changed from white to yellowish pinky to dark red upon exposure. It is finely textured, heavy, hard, and difficult to work. The West African laburnum is a shrub of a small tree up to 20 meters tall. The leaves, roots, and pods of Cassia siberiana are widely used in traditional medicine. The root and seeds are used also as a fish poison in Ivory Coast and Nigeria. Milicia excelsa is widely used in African traditional medicine also, and is often considered a sacred tree and frequently protected near houses and in cultivated fields. In Benin, the foliage is used as a fetish, and in Nigeria, the tree has a special place in the folklore and tradition of the people, as we can see here in this mother and child statue. Iroko is a highly valued commercial timber in Africa, from which demand is large. The tree can reach up to 50 meters height and is used for construction work, shipbuilding, and marine carpentry, framework, outdoor or indoor joinery, stars, garden furniture, cabinet work, and so on. It is also used for carving, domestic utensils, musical instruments, and toys. The hardwood is pale yellow to yellow, darkening on exposure to yellowish or greenish brown, or sometimes to chocolate brown. Although the hardwood is generally considered very durable. The Republic of Cameroon is called for the tourist Africa in miniature for its geological and cultural diversity. Natural features include beach, deserts, mountains, rainforests, and savannas. Early inhabitants of the territory included the Sao civilization around Lake Chad and the Baka hunter-gatherers on the southern rainforest. The wood of Cordia millenii is mainly used locally and has no importance in the international trade, but the wood resembles some grades to African mahogany, kaya, and entandophragma, and it has been exported as a substitute. The hardwood is pale brown, medium brown, occasionally pale-purplish or pinkish, and not very demarcated from the softwood. It is used for construction, joinery, interior trim, paneling, furniture, musical instruments, including drums, boxes, toy utensils, tool handles, canoes, and carving. The Gold Coast bombax is a large tropical tree that can grow up to 40 meters. The wood is quite light, which limits its use to canoes and other implements. Sorry. A dye can be made from the tannins with the bark, while the cotton-like fiber that covers the seeds is gathered and used as a cotton substitute. Both the flowers and the fruits are used in food. Many parts of the plant are used for medicinal and traditional purpose. The bark is burned to produce a smoke that is believed to drive away evil spirits called alizini in Dagbani. And red gum produced from the tree is used as incense. The earliest inhabitants of the Gabonese Republic were the Pygmy Peoples. They were largely replaced and absorbed by Bantu tribes. Gabon generally has an equatorial climate with an extensive system of rainforests covering 85% of the country. There are three distinctive regions: the coastal plain, the mountains, and the savanna in the east. Gabon also features internationally celebrated masks such as the Ngoltang Fang and the reliquary figures of the Kota. Each group has its own set of masks used for various reasons. They are mostly used in traditional ceremonies such as marriage, births, and funerals. Traditionalists mainly work with local woods and other precious materials. This one is made in Rhinodendron eudeloti, a medium-sized tree up to 40 meters. The wood, called erimado or esesang in trade, is very light, soft, and perishable, but is occasionally used in carving and for making household utensils, furniture, boxes, and crates. It is a potential substitute for balsa for making floats and life belts. The hardwood is whitish to pale yellow and is not differentiated from the softwood. The wood works easily, but turning and planing are difficult. The Republic of the Congo was dominated by Bantu-speaking tribes who built trade links leading into the Congo River basin. The southeast of the country is a coastal plain, and the interior of the country consists of a central plateau between two basins to the south and north. Forests are under increasing exploitation pressure. The earliest inhabitants of the region were also the Pygmy people, who later were largely displaced and absorbed by Bantu-speaking peoples. The Bakongo are a Bantu ethnicity that also occupied part of present-day Angola, Gabon, and Democratic Republic of the Congo. These Bitige sculptures are made in Hymenocardea acida, a small savanna tree or shrub about 9 meters high. The softwood is ivory white and the hardwood pink to light brown, darkening to orange on exposure. The wood is hard, close grained, very durable and termite resistant. Used for hot poles, stockage, and for making pestles and mallets. The tree is used also as firewood and for charcoal making, and it has medicinal properties. The Democratic Republic of the Congo is the most biodiverse African country, the second largest country in Africa, and the 11th largest in the world. The ecoregion contains areas of permanently flooded swamp forest, seasonally flooded swamp forest, and flooded grassland. These reliquary from the Mbede people are made in Ceiba pentandra. The tree has two main uses, being an important source of fiber and timber. The wood is creamy white, streaked with yellow, brown, pink, and or gray, but discoloration due to fungal attacks is very common. The dry wood is stable and service, making it ideal for plywood cordstock. The wood is difficult to saw, cleaning, and finishes smoothly. It has very low durability. Traditionally, entire trunks are hollowed out as dugout canoes, and the wood is used for lightweight furniture, utensils, containers, musical instruments, mortars, carving, and similar items. Ceiba pentandra finds wide application in cooking and in traditional medicine. I just show you a little overview of objects and trees typical of some regions. Of course, there are other trees with sacred characters and thousands of objects attended proper identification. As I told you, the market for African art is very important in Europe now. So when a museum wants to buy a new artwork or want to study his own, he requires identification and more radiocarbon. Here you can see a sampling of some objects placed more or less in their geographical area. The objects came from Branly Museum. On the left, you have the supposed chronology, started bicycle, of the objects, and on the right, the results obtained by the carbon-14 and the interpretation of Madame Lavier. As you can see, the chronological distribution data changed considerably and will be a promising field investigation. I would like to thank and express my sincere admiration to Pierre Detienne, which is an extraordinary wood anatomist, as many of you know. I also want to express my gratitude to the International Wood Culture Society for all the work that they've done. And it only reminds me to thank all of you for your passion and your attention. Thank you very much.